broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
And so anyway, that's when I told him you should go by your original name, Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
You know.
Such a good story. Hello and welcome to UFC on AfterBuzz TV. My name is Daria Berenato, and I'm here with the Striped Boys, the boys in stripes.
I suppose you could say so, yeah.
Mr. Blue and Mr. Burgundy.
Like red corner and blue corner over here. What are you doing? Get off
It is. It's the red corner and the blue corner.
Let's go.
Dockers.
Let's fight.
The red corner and the baby blue corner.
I walk out second. Let's go.
What are you watching?
I thought his name was Rocky
What are you
Maivia.
doing?
But whatever.
Anyway, also known as George Hermoza and Mr. J. Tan.
And you can follow me at G Hermoza. I think that's right there, I believe.
Or
at
he's
G
just
Hermoza.
pointing at your face.
AGHERMOZA.
Pointing into space.
I don't know. Well, space is not down there.
A little bit of space between there and the table.
That's funny. Anyway, guys, UFC Fight Night 66 went down in Manila, Philippines over the weekend, and it was a card that delivered. It was headlined by our own Frankie Edgar and Uriah Faber, a little East Coast versus West Coast action.
What number fight night was it?
66.
66.
Cool, just making sure. I thought you said 63 or something.
Oh, well, you thought wrong.
Pay
Usually
attention
you
to
think
your own
wrong
show, buddy.
when you think I'm wrong. That's always wrong. Anyway, let's start from the bottom of the card with the early prelims, which one of these early prelims was actually Fight of the Night bonus. So they delivered as well. We had Nolan Tickman versus Yao the Conqueror Jerqui. Yao won via split decision. A lot of split decisions, right? I think we had 3.
Yeah, there was a lot of competition in this, or competitive matches, we'll say, on this show.
We had knockouts. We had technical knockouts. We had submissions.
Some good subs.
Split decisions. Yeah.
Knock out the results there. We're talking about knockouts.
Yes. That was good. Bringing it back to bacon, as Jay Tan would say. Anyway,
When
we
have you
had...
ever said that?
I'm sorry, twice a show, every single show since we started. Welcome to AfterBuzz. Is your name George?
That was actually pretty funny. Oh, and John De Los Reyes defeated Roldan Sangchaan.
That was...
Sangchaan.
Oh, okay.
Is that his name?
I mean, I did
Yeah,
just...
pretty good.
That was, it was good. Very good. How did he defeat him, though?
Submission rear naked choke. Second round, 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Well done. Well done.
Good work, Wikipedia.
Timothy Well and Stephen Dunn.
Ning Gang Yo versus Royston Wee. Gang Yo won via TKO in round 2. 4 minutes and 59 seconds in. You know what that means, guys? That he had a second left.
Yeah, it was... and in fact, they actually went to commercial before... I think it was called... during commercial, or at least John Anik came back after commercial.
Yeah, it looked like as it was fading into commercial, the
referee
call was being stopped.
did stop.
That's so
that's
funny.
getting to be a trend in the trend these days.
Those late
these
finishes.
Very last I was going to say last minute, but they're last second finishes.
Literally last second.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear that wood clap for the 10 seconds, you don't stop. That means you turn it up, right? You try to finish it. Try to finish that round out good. Next, we had Lee the Leech Jing Li Yang defeating Diego Lima in round 1 via KO.
Really quick, say hi to K-Frat6.
K-Frat6. Hi, K-Frat6. Did they have a question?
No, they just said hi, Daria.
Oh, hi.
Look. Hi, Daria.
Hi, K-Frat6.
We're, by the way, those of you listening to on iTunes, we're very interactive on the show. We're live, and I mean live.
Yeah.
Like at this very second, we're literally live, being watched on AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. So you people listening on YouTube, feel free to join us live whenever we're doing a show.
There's a live feed going on right now.
Comment. Let us know what you guys are thinking.
And that happens now on all studios, I believe, as I understand it.
Yeah, we're all going live right to your homes.
We don't get to do our second and third and fourth takes and
Okay, take
do-overs.
Screw this shit. Oh shit. Okay, sorry.
Oh, we gotta put
Anyway.
an explicit sign on the thing.
I don't think shit gives us that. What was the last one I just read?
Unless you do it 3 times. It's like Beetlejuice.
Oops. Zhang the Warrior Lepang versus Raging Cajun Johnson. Raging Cajun Johnson won via unanimous decision. Next, we have Tai Hyun Bang versus John Tuck. John Tuck won via rear naked choke in round 1. Mark Adiva versus Levon Makashvili. Makashvili won via split decision. We'll go back and talk about that one. Philippe Nover versus Yu, the Korean Bulldozer Chul Nam. Philippe Nover won via split decision. That's one that's questionable. I had it scored the other way, but we'll talk about that as well.
Yep.
Going on to the main card.
That was the main card.
That was the main card. Going closer to the main event.
Good one.
Hyun Gyu Lim versus Neil Magny. Neil Magny won via TKO in round 2. It didn't look like it was going that way at first, but we'll get to that. Mark Munoz versus Luke Barnett.
Oh, you nailed that.
Mark Munoz with his retirement bout. I was giving it a sympathetic edge.
Oh.
It's his retirement bout, guys. And damn, did he give a good speech at the end. Did you guys listen to it?
Oh, yeah.
It brought me to tears.
Well, you cry for everything.
Oh, shut up. You just ruined it. I only cry for you, Mark Munoz. Okay. Next, we have Gegard Mousasi versus Kostas Philippou.
Kostas Philippou.
Yep, you guys said it perfect.
Like Philippou.
Philippou.
Now we've got the explicit sticker.
Now, Mousasi won 30-27 all around via unanimous decision. And of course, the main event of the evening, like I like to say it, the best coast versus the west coast. Who's with me?
Eastie right here.
Yeah!
That's right.
I was waiting for
Eastie
it.
from across the way, right?
I was waiting for it. Frankie, the answer, Edgar, gave Uriah Faber his answer.
Hardy's beat Carl's Jr. Shake Shack beat In and Out, apparently. Biggie beat Tupac.
Yeah.
Jersey
What
Shore
else?
beats Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
The Hills. Yeah, or the Kardashians.
Yeah, the Hills is probably more accurate. Yeah, Jersey Shore.
Yankees beat the
Hills.
Dodgers.
Yep.
Oh, I like that one.
I like that one too.
He's from New Jersey.
Which is directly south of New York.
You can't like affiliate the Yankees with New Jersey.
Yeah, you got Yankee fans in
right
Jersey.
there,
There's no Jersey.
You would affiliate them with New Jersey more so that you would affiliate the Dodgers with New Jersey. I mean, you got to keep it separate.
I don't know. You could have said like the New Jersey Nets. Wait,
They're not the New Jersey Nets
Devils
anymore. Yeah, you could have said that.
Versus the Kings. So let's talk about this main card, guys.
Anyway, so
that's what everybody wants to hear.
Let's start from.
The card overall. There's a couple of stories, but before cutting too much into the main card, I think a couple of stories that come out of this this event. One being that this is the first time in the Philippines, after having been trying to get into that country for a very long time. They've been talking about doing a show in Manila since back when they had Brandon Vera.
I thought we already had, to be honest. I was like, I thought it was like our second or third time there. It's the first time.
That was a place that they were targeting. Like I said, when Brandon Vera was still on the roster.
Right.
I want to say as far back as maybe 2006, but maybe more like 2008 or so.
Before he got his face broken by John Jones.
John
Jones literally broke his face.
Bro, what, like his face?
It was like a ground and pound.
It was an
and
orbital,
just kinda
I think, right?
Like a cross elbow, and it was over. Like he literally broke his face.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
But it's been a market they've been talking about for a long time. Obviously, a place that's very, very hungry for MMA, and several other promotions, international promotions, have gone there. So it was kind of surprising that it's taken this long, but I think fair to say that it certainly was a great show. I feel like the undercard delivered a little bit more than the main card and the bigger matches with more international names.
Like we were talking about before, I think it's so important when we go to a new territory to have those hometown heroes, those locals on the card.
You gotta.
That really draw the locals' attention and build those names in these foreign territories. So I think we had a lot more smaller names to bring from Manila rather than, we don't have that many superstars over there.
Smaller only in terms of international awareness.
Exactly. Not to say that they're lesser in any way.
Yeah. I was going to say, I had this argument with a friend a couple weeks ago about how he was saying, dude, this card sucks. There's nobody that I know. There's no matches. Huh?
His name is Devon Sawa.
He said it on air.
Did he say that on air?
It's fair game.
I didn't remember that. Okay.
He said it on air.
I don't think he did.
He said it off air.
I think as we were
Called
leaving.
you out, Devon Sawa.
But, the problem is that there's no names that a lot of in North American fans know.
Yeah.
But they're names that they're names where there's a connection at least to the local market there, you know, and you gotta build up guys that are fighting over there, just like when you have Eastern Europeans, you know, when they do shows in Berlin or Poland, and they did that. You know, it was nice to see too. They brought in several guys from Tough China. Right. That kind of had a dubious rep, really, that whole season of Tough, of not being very good. But you know, guys had a pretty good shining on this show, and yeah.
Devon Sawa had a very fair argument in saying that it wasn't a great card because he didn't know any of the names. Well, he didn't know a lot of the names, or didn't think that they were, you know, the biggest stars or the most entertaining
I don't think that's a fair argument, would be my point.
Well, it's a fair argument in the sense that we are North American fans, most of us, and we don't know that foreign territory. But it's amazing because cards like this open our eyes to those stars. And they say, oh my God, you know, there was all these split decisions, there was all these knockouts, and we go, oh, who's that guy? He's amazing. And then we go look him up, and then he becomes someone that we're, you know,
that we eventually talk about later on down the road.
It just kind of depends, too, because this isn't exactly like it's not a pay-per-view card either.
That's
you know, it's on free TV. So it's one of those things where they're kind of hoping to get those channel surfers.
At 7 a.m.
And Frankie Edgar and Faber, I think if this wasn't the main event, it probably would have been like a Fight Pass kind of card. But because of this kind of dream match in some ways, they had to have it on, you know, Fox Sports 1.
I think this would have been a co-main on a pay-per-view, Edgar versus Faber.
Right, yeah, it would have been a good co-main, too. I mean, they're number 2, number 3 ranked contenders in that
considering
division.
Their track record, it's kind of hard to believe that this isn't for a title shot or for a championship, considering their past record and championships and whatnot. So, in my ways, yeah, this was good enough to main event, very much so.
It could have held a main event and a title shot for sure. But hopefully we'll see your winner, Frankie Edgar, getting that title shot soon. We have Aldo versus McGregor coming up soon.
I think he should get that next shot, but we'll talk about that.
I think you put him on a shelf for now, though. But anyway.
Put him on a shelf.
Put him on a shelf. Shelf on an elf. What's it called?
Elf on a shelf?
Elf on a shelf. There you go. Shelf on an elf. You put elf on elf all the time.
I'm not going to refer to Frankie Edgar as an elf.
Every time we have a late night show, I blame you, George. We get silly.
We're not even drunk. I mean, I can't speak for you guys. I'm not drunk.
I blame George for everything.
Then again,
much.
all alcohol tastes like water now.
Yeah, what is that? It doesn't really
water
look like water.
I'm saying all alcohol tastes like water now.
Oh, okay. You're just.
But I think we should still talk about this card.
All right, let's start with
from the Philippines.
I think we probably should. Let's talk about Felipe Nova versus Yoon Chul Nam. Felipe Nova won via split decision. Me and Jay disagreed. What did you think, George?
Well, I'm gonna go with Dana White and say I disagree as well, because Dana White said what?
What?
Yo Choi Kim So won that match.
I mean, this
Yui Chul Nam.
That was good. That was good. I like both of your pronunciations.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was my breakdown of the fight. The first round, obviously, Philippe went out there with a very specific game plan. It was to grind his opponent out, wrestle him to death. He was in the UFC back in 2010. He left, or got let go. He went and did his own thing in other organizations, and he came. This was his first fight back. And he said while he was gone, all he worked on was his wrestling. He really focused on his wrestling because in his past fights, it was his weak point, and he wanted it to be an asset. Yeah. Well, congratulations, because you succeeded in that. Your wrestling looked phenomenal. Your hip pressure looked amazing. Hand and hip control looked amazing. But I think going in there with such a specific game plan to wrestle the opponent down for 3 5-minute rounds is a really hard thing to accomplish. I can understand to maybe do that for the first round, wear your opponent down, and then kind of try to strike with him. That's a common game plan. But to try and do that for 3 rounds is absolutely exhausting. And against somebody like the Korean Bulldozer, who is ferocious at least.
I gave Nova the first one for the takedowns, and he landed some knees in the clinch. But Yui, I thought, had the second and the third. The second one, Yui had a brief takedown. He had a couple of takedowns on his own. Right. Kept top position towards the latter half of the third round, and ground and pound to the end. In general, I think, well, obviously wrestlers are pre-programmed to take guys down and keep them down. But, yes, against a guy like Yui Chul Nam, you've got to be able to keep him down. And, Nam got up several times. He stuffed a takedown in the second.
He really didn't get him down that much. He was just holding him against the cage majority of the time, which can win you a fight, of course. But I still thought I gave round 2 and round 3 to the Korean Bulldozer. I gave round 1 to Philippe definitively, but I gave round 3 to Chul Nam more definitively. So
Yeah.
I gave the fight to Chul Nam.
Round 2, I think, was the closest one.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just saw Yui Chul Nam, with his top position and ground and pound towards the end. That, to me, had more of an impression than anything else in that round.
Right.
I don't know. Was that the one that Stan? Gosh, there was another one. I think I'm trying to remember that I disagreed. Stan was adamant about, and I disagreed with. Might have been the
I think it was a
Yao
different
Zhikui.
one.
Yeah, I think they saw Nolan Tickman. Let me see here.
Or it could have been Makashvili.
No, Nolan Tickman.
Nolan
and
Tickman.
Yao Zhikui. That was another one that was really close. They were. I remember that. They were speaking a lot about how Tickman was controlling the entire match. A lot of it, he was circling around, kind of evading, not getting hit to his credit, and then would stick and move. But
Right.
Yao Zhikui was constantly trying. He was chasing after him, but I think the problem was that he wasn't cutting off the ring. He was chasing after Tickman, and that's what Stan and Anik were harping on, that he should be cutting off. It seemed like verbally to them that was the thing that they were counting against him. I saw it as more aggressive, and frankly, he was landing. When he was landing, his punches I thought were better than whatever Tickman was throwing, which was practically nothing. He did not. He was doing the Willie Pep, I'm going to win the round and not throw a punch kind of thing.
Scoring some points.
Yeah.
That to me has been the hardest thing to score over my years of watching MMA is evasion versus running versus being aggressive with good footwork. Like, how do you score that? And every judge scores it differently, to be fair. There's no black and white for it. And like talking about guys like Lyoto Machida that, play that evasion game. But if you're playing it well, you're winning, right? Or are you running?
Yeah.
So it's a really fine line, I think. And I think in this fight I did see he was evading well.
I think running is an unfair phrase to use when it comes to judging. Floyd
Right.
Mayweather also, comes to mind in this conversation. You're evading punches, which you should be, but you shouldn't necessarily get credit for that. What should be getting credit is whoever is landing better and more effectively.
Right.
So if the guy that is circling the outside of the cage, he's using that to land well, then yes.
So let me ask you this. So if you have two guys in a cage, and this is a really hard situation to give you, and it's it's going to be a
hypothetical, yeah.
hypothetical, very generic answer. But
let's make it between Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, okay, that makes it even more hypothetical. Anyway, so you have two people in the cage, and you have one guy who is consistently stalking the other guy down, but not landing anything. He's missing. He's whiffing almost because the guy's head movement and footwork is so good.
Right.
But the guy on the outside is not throwing a counter punch back. Just
so
moving.
Nobody is punching at all.
No, well, the guy attacking is punching, but he's missing.
Okay.
And the guy that's evading is strictly evading, not countering.
So he's not landing either.
He's not landing either. Is this like is this like 0-0
So that's
in a
yeah, that's an
basketball game?
8-8 round. That might be a 7-7.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But that's not the way most judges see it. Most guys, I mean, Frankie Edgar versus Uriah Faber is actually a pretty good example of this. They were both moving so much. They both had really good footwork, really good head movement. They were both landing very little. I mean, Frankie Edgar was putting together his 5-strike combinations in the end, really landing well. But in the beginning, it's like it was like a tic-tac, back and forth, back and forth. It's like, who's winning?
And that's the tricky part. Number one, the rules say effective grappling and striking. Now, if there's no grappling and everyone's circling, then okay.
Right.
Then you judge based on striking.
Right.
You need to have a sharp eye to be able to identify who is having the more effective striking, who is more.
Right.
If one guy is not throwing at all whatsoever, and the other guy is swinging but missing. In some way, a lot of judges would argue, well, at least one guy is swinging at all.
Being the aggressor.
Yeah. But I think, to your point about Edgar and Faber, from many eyes, a lot of people will say, well, it was so even. Yeah, it was even. You could argue that. But the judges, those three guys that are right there on the spot, we've talked so many times on the show about how it's very different between watching it on TV versus watching right there on the spot. And that's why those judges get paid. That's why they're there to focus, and they're not listening to commentary either.
And there's a lot you can see when you're right there.
Yeah. So you get a different perspective, and it's at least, if nothing else, is at least more direct to the match itself than going through the TV tube.
I agree.
So that's what it is, and you have to be educated to be able to identify effective strikes. You know, in boxing, of course, power punches versus whatever the other ones are called. You know,
George, do you tend to favor the fighters that evade and play that outside game, or do you tend to favor the aggressors when you're
as far as
fights?
striking goes? I'll go with the aggressor, because I forgot which fight it was yesterday, but there was one maybe the Munoz, maybe it was the Nova, I forget, but where they would go for the takedown, and he'd just be that thing where like they just kind of grab the fence, or they just grab him against the fence, and just kind of that positioning of like just trying to move. I would give that to the defensive guy, because he's the one avoiding the takedown. He's the other guy is, yes, he's attempting the takedown, but he's not succeeding.
So you kind of see it as like a failed shot.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're going to try to take him down, did you take him down? No. I know that you were trying to, and you're aggressive in that sense, but are you succeeding with those takedowns?
You're not supposed to give points for defense.
Yes.
But that's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
And that's a fair opinion. You're allowed to have your opinion. But I agree. If your back is against the cage, usually you're the one that is losing in this situation, unless you're landing some amazing elbows, some amazing strikes, and you're digging for your underhooks.
That's what separates the great to the good to the great to the fair
John
fighters.
Jones is a great example.
Yeah, like other guys will just stay up on the cage, but other guys will try to get you those elbows or maybe those body shots or just something.
Well,
just get that
John's a
separation.
good example of the contrary. He gets you up against the cage and he works so aggressively that he's clearly winning.
Yeah.
Right.
You couldn't give the guy on the other side that.
But obviously, we have seen a lot of fights where it's just you push him up against the cage and it's just standing there for like a minute or two. It seems like a minute. Of course, usually.
Well, you want to judge. Yeah, I mean, hopefully there's some other stuff in that same round to judge. If there's absolutely nothing else, if there was 5 minutes of one guy holding another guy up against the cage and nobody threw strikes,
then they will not be fighting in the UFC.
Yeah,
because Dana White would be like, I can never hear
the guy
him out.
controlling. See, that's the criteria in scoring. You kind of work your way down. Like that cage control is actually towards the cage control and aggression is kind of towards the bottom of the list of what you should be judging on. There's effective striking, grappling, damages are the bigger ones. But if there's not that there, then you kind of work your way down.
You trickle your way down the line.
And sometimes that is the case, and a lot of judges will kind of get confused or maybe forget this kind of priority list, or they feel like there's just not enough of those first several criteria to judge, and so it comes down to that visual of who controlled the cage more. A great example of this, there was controversy years ago. Randy Couture fought Brandon Vera, and Randy won the match, and a big part of it was cage control, Couture clinching Vera up against the cage. And people were saying that was, I remember myself actually scoring it for Randy at that point. That was a big factor, that clinch against the cage was the thing.
And that's why I like to talk about these kind of things, because in 5 years from now, I guarantee perspectives on certain parts of our sport will be different than they are now. Because when the sport evolves, the rules evolve. When the rules evolve, the judging evolves. So it's good to get an opinion, because everyone definitely has their own. I mean, as well as you guys, have been to so many live events over the past, whether it's amateur fighting or boxing or, Muay Thai. We've been to so many events over the past couple of years, and it's like when you're watching MMA all the time, you see crazy judge decisions, you see crazy decisions, and you're like, and then you hear their input, and they're like, oh, well, this guy did this, and it gives you a different perspective.
It's tough because there is not yet really a standard all the way through, although on paper there should be.
Right.
With the unified rules. Theoretically there is, but you're going from one show to another, different regions.
Right.
That means different judges, and I don't mean to infer that they're judging for the hometown boy, that kind of thing. I know a lot of people will point the finger at that. When a match goes a certain way. I don't necessarily think that's the case.
I don't think that's the case. You know what I think the case is more than anything in judging? Styles. I think a lot of fighters get judged a certain way, and they think, oh, I won, I landed more strikes. but their style is to their either advantage or disadvantage. Like, for example,
in the eyes of the judges.
in the eyes of the judges, for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
There's guys that go out there and throw 3,000 punches a fight, and their opponent might throw 1,500, but they lose, and they're like, "Why did I lose? I was."
Jeez.
These are crazy.
I want to see
statistics.
that match.
Crazy
God, that would be awesome. How many
Okay,
seconds?
like
5 times 60 in a
300.
5-minute match, 300. So 3,000. That's 100 punches in a minute.
I like to exaggerate, but anyway.
I'd
so-
better see that from you in your next match, honey. Now you've got something to work towards.
All right. Now I have a goal in mind.
Yes.
3,000. Okay. In 3-minute rounds. Let's see how this goes.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
It's like 1,000 a minute. Anyway, so what I'm saying is like a guy who has high volume striking,
Yeah.
but barely doing any damage. You know, light hands against a guy who every time he lands
It's effective.
busts the nose open or you know
Yeah.
opens a wound.
Quantity versus quality.
Exactly, and it's like so. Sometimes your striking tactics specifically
Right.
can be to your disadvantage.
In that scenario you just said, the guy that throws 1,500, the guy that's more effective, he should be the one that gets that round.
Absolutely,
As opposed to the guy that
which
riffs.
is why this brings me to my point back to bacon, like Jay says, which is why having a black and white system wouldn't necessarily be beneficial, because if the system was black and white, and if the guy that threw the more strikes on paper was the winner, we'd have a lot of upset fans for that reason. Had he gone against a guy that is more effective. So I think we have to keep it the way it is for now, and I think there might be an answer out there, but I haven't come up with it yet.
A bit of the answer is just standardized training.
Right.
And that's very hard to do given how big, how young the sport is, how few judges, officials, really veteran judges and officials and referees there are to teach the same curriculum and the same criteria down the line.
But a good start is Big John McCarthy's training academy.
Command.
And Herb Dean. Herb Dean has a good one too, I believe. I
yes.
think he trains, right? He trains as well.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to be having Herb's next session, training session.
Awesome.
We'll be refereeing at the U of MMA on Fight Night 10 on May 31st at Club Nokia in downtown LA. Tickets available at ufmma.com.
That was very good, Jay.
Wasn't it, though?
Yeah. What do you think, George?
That was pretty good, too. I want to try this. Hold on. Fight Night, U of MMA, May 31st. Tickets, you can find it at ufmma.com.
There you go.
That was good. I give you guys like a 9 and a 9. Because the 10 is reserved for me.
Next fight up was Hyun Gyu
Fight
Lim
Night 10,
against...
U of MMA.
Oh,
You
your
can
turn.
get tickets now
Whatever.
at ufmma.com.
Nope.
But guys, go online and vote. Let us know whose was the best.
They're going to say you because you're the prettiest one out of us.
No, I think you guys are both very pretty.
Well, I know I am, but I'm saying...
We've
what-
got
I know
faces made
they-
for radio, of
Yeah,
course.
I know they're going to think that you are.
All right, whatever. Anyway, on to the next match, which is Hyun the Ace Gualim. Gulim?
I'm lost on my pages here.
Okay, it's Gulim
We-
versus Neil Magny.
That match, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
That fight was good.
This
Especially
was a
that-
good one.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the kind you like, right? The guy coming back from.
Hey, I like it too.
Well, his favorite kind is when the fighter's down and he comes back, right? Isn't that
I'm
what
all
you said?
about the comeback.
You're all about the comeback,
I'm all
kid.
about the comeback, kid.
That's your story. Anyway, Magny won via TKO in round 2, but this is after Neil Magny almost got TKO'd in round 1 in the beginning of round
He even
1.
admitted at the post-fight when Anik was interviewing him that he was like, "Yeah, dude, I thought I was done too. I was pretty much out."
It was so bad, and it took him a while to
It
recover.
just kind of goes to show like the heart and the determination these guys have. They're not just going to give up just because they seem like they're out.
Right.
You're not completely out, as shown in not just this fight, but with guys like Chick Congo in the past. Who's the guy from Tough? It was like on the Tough thing where he got like a liver shot, and then like he like started groaning, and then he like hits him over the knockout punch.
It was Drago Pietzel versus Scott Smith in the finale of an Ultimate Fighter. I don't remember which one.
Okay.
They were both
I-
on the comeback, so I think it might have been finale
you
of
go.
season
The
4.
comeback.
Yeah, guys, that's the Steve. Who was it? No, Kirk Gibson. Excuse me. That's the Kirk Gibson shot in MMA. Go and check that out. Fight Pass. I'm sure it's there. That's a fantastic match and an amazing finish there.
Check out Pat Bear versus Chick Congo as well.
That
Speaking of
one
which.
as well, for sure, yeah. Hyung-Gyo Kim was, the action in this match. He was chasing after Magny. Magny's a guy that he was coming off of 6 straight wins going into this one, and Hyung-Gyo Kim was chasing after him. It wasn't a great start for Magny. Dropped him with the right, but Magny was able to survive, Lim was on him with knees and a flurry for like 30 seconds or so.
Well, Lim is known for his flying knees. So every time that Neil Magny was against that cage, being punched, I was like, oh my God, I'm waiting for the flying knee. And he threw it and he landed it. It didn't land crisp, or I think Neil Magny would have been in more trouble, but he landed it and Neil Magny was in serious trouble. He finally was able to grab onto Lim and recover over the course of another minute, I think. But.
Although I'm looking at my notes here towards the end as well, Magny got top and back position, threatened with a rear naked choke. I actually ended up giving Magny that round. Despite that,
that would be a hard round to judge. That could be like a tie for that round, because the beginning of the round was so defiantly won by Lim, and the bottom of the round was so obviously won by Magny. So it was crazy. It was like a split round.
Yeah, he had a nice suplex in the second round, though. It was a nice suplex beautiful. Takedown that you rarely see.
I love the crowd's reaction when you pick somebody up for a suplex. It's like, it's like all that anticipation, and then as soon as you slam him down, it's
really
like...
quick, Joseph Boza gave you a 9.75.
Ooh, that was close. What did he give us?
What did he give you?
Nothing. He didn't say anything.
Not even scoring us, Joe.
I'm the winner.
Shut up.
I'm the winner.
That's only 1 out of 3 scores so far. Maybe he's still processing our scores.
He's probably still thinking about it. Yeah,
could be. Yeah,
he could be thinking about it.
We could come back with a 9.8, 9.9.
Never know.
More likely me to
There's
get.
more numbers beneath me than above me, but think however you want, J-Tam.
There was some other big. Speaking to your suplex, I remember. In the next match, Mark Munoz and Luke Barnett.
Absolutely.
Munoz had some really nice takedowns as well there.
Okay, so we all knew this was Mark Munoz's retiring match prior to watching it. So the whole time I was watching it, I had that in mind. So maybe it was, a biased opinion. But all I kept thinking is, wow, he's putting on a show.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's the mindset you have when you're fighting your last match. But I've seen, there's certain people we've seen in the past that, their last match isn't so good, which is why it's their last match. Whereas this was like a very impressive performance to me.
A big difference here is that I'm trying to think of other matches that we know, or the last guys have said this is going to be my retirement match.
Right, because then they
Randy
always come
Couture
back.
and Lyoto Machida comes to mind.
Tito Ortiz when he fought Forrest Griffin.
Yeah, there was that.
When did Lyoto Machida say he was retiring?
No, Randy Couture.
Oh, I thought you said Lyoto Machida. Oh, against Lyoto Machida.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Mark had said much earlier that this was going to be his last match. I think it was a big milestone for him to do a match in the Philippines. Finally got it.
So cool.
And
cool.
this was the time for him to hang it up, because he says that he wants to focus more on family. His son's going into wrestling. I forgot if it was college or high school level. But
he's all about his wrestling. He wants to go around the world, and he said he wants to change kids' lives through wrestling.
Yeah, bring wrestling more to the
Philippines.
Philippines, which I think is fantastic.
That is so cool.
That was one amazing post-fight.
Oh my God. It literally brought me to tears. I was like,
yeah,
this guy's
it was
awesome.
exactly what... It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I think that's probably the best way to put it.
Right.
He was, he really is a nice guy, by all accounts. I've worked with him on a few projects in the past, and has had that same kind of jovial, clowning, very affable kind of guy. So you want that for somebody like that. And I think that he went in there realizing that this was balls to the wall, his last chance to do what he wanted to do. He wanted to write this thing on his own terms.
Right.
He got to, and so he was going to leave nothing to be questioned, And frankly, I think that Luke Barnett knew that as well.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough fight for Luke Barnett, especially he's pretty young in the sport. But a guy like Mark Munoz, I really liked what he said at the end when he was like, I used to sit home and watch superhero cartoons on TV, and now I am one in the cage, and I was like, yes, like that is so cool. Like, but it's true. These guys are superheroes. I mean, every male and female that gets in that cage, it's their level of athleticism is like our modern day superhero.
Never mind the athleticism. What you're doing is going in to something, a cage, an enclosure, and you're leaving it all in there. You're throwing down, literally. And there's very few things that are. I mean, the rules are about as
that.
Yeah, you're allowed to do as much as possible, and the rules are as minimal as possible. Notwithstanding fighter safety, it doesn't get more defiantly superhero or definitively than MMA, in my opinion. You maybe argue Muay Thai or any combat sport,
Professional wrestling.
No, not that. But MMA is the one where you can do as much as possible.
You know, a lot of those kids thinks that those guys are superheroes just as much as we think that.
I think that they're superheroes, yeah, but not legitimately. They're not legitimately.
They're superheroes like the ones you watch on TV.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think I'm saying
or in the movies.
To kids, that's more,
yeah.
But just a couple comments because I wanted to hear or see comments just kind of because I saw it up. Kenny Florian said, "You're not going to find a nicer guy than Mark Munoz, and I couldn't be happier to see him get a win for his last fight in the Philippines." Ryan Bader said, "Congrats, Mark Munoz, on a great career. Great to see guys go out on their own terms." CM Punk said, "Amazing moment, great fight." TJ Dillashaw said, "Congrats, Mark Munoz, love you, buddy." F. Ryan Escudero, "I want to say thank you for all the great fights you gave us throughout the years. Mark Munoz, not only are you a friend, but a great fighter. Thank you." Stipe Miocic, "Thanks for the amazing fights." Yeah, so Michael Bisping, and best retirement speech ever goes to Mark Munoz. Such a class act.
Oh, that's amazing. When you have guys like Stipe Miocic and Michael Bisping and greats in the sport that really respect this guy.
Yeah.
And to go on such a good note and to leave your last pair of gloves in the cage, that was a cool moment.
Yeah, it's a tradition taken from amateur wrestling, and
is it?
Randy Couture did it as well when he retired.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Did
things.
Randy say that was his last fight going into it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Against Machida, yeah.
Because I know a lot of guys will you'll hear the talk, like guys like Chris Lehman or a lot of guys who should be retiring
right
as you're watching them fight.
You know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and then they lose badly and they're like, "Oh, I think that's my last one, guys." But
one.
It was a little bit different with Mark Munoz, and months kind of going in the Philippines. I think he was actually filling in for someone. And then I think he saw an opening, in the Philippines card and said, "Hey, I have to be on this card." And like I said, no better way to go out than that.
He was a last-minute replacement.
Not last minute, but I think it says according to this, replacing Clint Hester.
Oh, wow!
Because Mark Munoz just fought not that long ago.
Right, but
did he fight on the LA card?
No, Munoz didn't fight on the LA card. But Philippines, I mean, I'd be surprised if that was not already considered.
Right.
Putting Munoz on the thing.
Maybe they were going to put him on the card and then that dropped out.
And yes, he did fight on the LA card.
He did fight?
Yeah, right there.
I take that back. I eat my words. I'm 0 for 2 this week. Jesus.
Next on the card, we have Gegard Mousasi versus Costas Philippou. Mousasi won via unanimous decision, 30-27 all around.
Mm-hmm.
This was another one that was very obvious, and a very obvious winner. Mousasi controlling the cage. Early takedown by Mousasi, good top pressure. Costas really looked flat on his back. He was really having a hard time getting to that hip, shrimping out of there. He wasn't doing too good of a job staying busy down there on the bottom. I would have liked to have seen him utilize some jiu-jitsu some more to try to get back up. I'm sure Gegard Mousasi's a very hard opponent to do that against, though.
Yeah. Mousasi obviously has a reputation in grappling. And Philippou just wasn't really trying to get out of there. I mean,
it was not much to say. Situation.
Yeah, not much to say to add to what you said. It was pretty academic, that match.
The stand-up match for the most part, Mousasi was countering a lot. He was waiting for Philippou to strike, and he was beautifully countering. He wasn't. That's a bad way to say it. He wasn't waiting for him to strike, but when he struck, he countered immediately. Almost at the same time. But it was beautiful, and he was really landing the majority of the strikes on the feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was, again, not much to debate in that match.
Right.
Even though a lot of it...
dry.
With the exception of just maybe a submission here or there, it pretty much went exactly how I thought it would go.
Yeah,
Mousasi
there was a couple
completely
submission
dominating.
attempts, but nothing finished.
Yeah.
What was Gegard's last fight?
Gegard Mousasi's last fight. I think it was against Machida. Am I right? I'm wrong. It was against. That was a long time ago. Machida. Wow, where am I?
Dan Henderson.
Dan Henderson back
that
in
was
January.
The debatable finish where everyone felt like it was a TKO early in the first round.
Oh, that's right.
Mousasi, I think he knocked him down. Henderson fell backwards, head against the cage, and a lot of people were saying that the match was finished early. Because Henderson, I think, was reaching for a single leg on Mousasi.
Yes, I remember that exactly, actually.
I think I felt that way as well.
Mousasi's had a couple weird run-ins like that. Like, him and Jacare, their first matchup with the up
kick. He got
kick.
caught early. Yeah, the up kick, that's right.
Or he knocked Jacare out with the up
misspoke.
kick. And then they had a rematch, and Jacare beat him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he had a couple weird run-ins like that. But he definitely won this one without a doubt. So congratulations, Musasi, on another awesome win. Next, we have, what do we have, Jay? The what coast?
We have the main event of the evening.
That's not
Left
what I was
coast
gonna
versus
say.
the best coast. What?
Okay.
Yeah, you got to think about that
I had
one, right?
to look at a map in my head. I had to think if you were on my team or against me.
And I'm betraying everybody that I know in California and up and down the
I
West
know
Coast.
all your West Coast friends are gonna be like, you asshole. Okay, so Frankie the Answer Edgar defeated Uriah Faber. This one was fun. It kind of resembled Horiguchi versus DJ to me. Obviously not as quick because this is 2 weight classes up, but still that fast pace,
Right.
back and forth, constant movement. Takedown attempt. Oh, you're back up. Oh, takedown. Oh, you're back up.
Yeah.
Oh, strike. This way. This way. This way. Counter strike. It was so fast paced.
It's funny, in the post-fight show, Kenny and some other people were talking about how, or at least Kenny seemed to not really have a lot of love for the match. He felt like it was either close, not a lot of activity, I think he said, which could be the case. There was certainly movement, but it was so everything they negated each other very
I
much.
completely agree with Kenny Florian.
Yeah.
It was so much negating. It was so much evading. It was so much of an outside game like we were talking about earlier. I get what both guys were trying to do. They were trying to not get hit and score points. But at the same time, I'd like to see them plant their feet a little bit more often and really land those hard punches. Frankie Edgar did a good job of putting it together in rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah.
He landed a couple really good uppercuts and a couple overhand rights that were landing well. But besides that, it really wasn't a lot of landing.
To me, there's two Frankie Edgars. One that's completely dominant, like the one that we saw against BJ Penn in all 3 of his fights.
Yeah.
And the comeback Frankie Edgar, the one that gets beat down, and then somehow he finds a way to win.
Great man.
Yeah, we didn't see any of that. We didn't see any of those 2 Frankie Edgars.
Oh, so there's a third Frankie Edgar now.
There's this one apparently.
There's this one.
But like you guys said, it all came down to styles. I mean, yes, it was a dream match in some ways, but kind of like, well, not every dream match is going to be a great match at the same time.
I mean, I didn't hate the match, but I just didn't think that they put as much out there as they could have. I think they were kind of playing it safe.
Remember, you guys texted me saying which was fight of the night, and then that was before I saw Edgar and Faber. I was like, man, that should be the fight of the night, if anything. Then when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, so that kind of makes sense.
It makes
You
sense.
mean
why it
fight of the
wasn't.
night in terms of
Like I thought that would have been the fight of the night, Edgar versus Faber.
On
Before he
paper.
saw it
Yeah.
on paper. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good one, I think, to study in general, though. Like it's hard to watch because there wasn't anything definitive going on, so a fan can't say, "Oh, I saw this."
Look at that
and-
knockdown. Or,
Yeah, exactly. Faber, I thought, had his best performance in the 3rd round. That one, if there was a round to give to him, probably would have been the 3rd round, but because he was, the heck, what? Guillotine
What?
choke and.
Yeah, he did.
I gotta learn how to write better. My notes, guys. Let me tell you something. Can you see this? Look here. I don't know if you can. I know we can't zoom in on this thing, but this is some pretty bad chicken scratch. I'm just gonna say.
It's horrible.
I don't
worse
even know
than
why they're
mine.
notes. It's like I'm writing the matches themselves. But
I know what you're trying to say. I can read your notes. Hold on. Okay, it's in my head. So he had him in a guillotine. Frankie Edgar, was in a guillotine, but he comes
His
from
striking-
Ricardo Almeida camp, which is known for the land. It's the land of the guillotines. So he was very, very familiar with defending that. He quickly got out of the guard, which saved his bout for that, and he was on top.
right. Well, I think Uriah's striking though was most effective in the 3rd as well. Frankie was hitting these takedowns throughout the entire match, but Uriah would get up again, and Frankie was not able to keep him down enough to get top position or really do much from that. And I mean, a lot of them were barely takedowns. It was just kind of holding the legs against the cage, those kind of takedowns. So there wasn't the point I'm saying is that there wasn't anything really huge to kind of denote in each of these rounds, but those are the great matches to study, guys.
If you want to understand the mind of a judge,
Yeah.
that's a good fight to watch.
Yeah, style and and technical footwork and combinations, things like that. Faber was doing a lot of stuff shooting to the body, with his jab or body shots in general, and Frankie would just kind of he was applying a lot of pressure with combinations.
There's a lot of feinting. Both guys. I think that's what the game mostly was. They were both, toe to toe at some point, but feints and fakes, and they would kind of feint, throw, and get out. Circle, and get out.
A sign of two really great qualified guys going against each other.
And I think another thing to say is they respected each other's wrestling so much
Yes.
that they stood and they struck. That's such a fascinating fact to me when I look at that. A lot of the time, guys, when you see a high-level striker versus a high-level striker, all they'll do is wrestle. A lot of the time when you see a high-level
And
wrestler,
vice versa,
a high-level
especially.
wrestler, all they'll do is strike. It's very fascinating. It's a respect factor. It's a, we both know we're amazing down there. Let's switch it up. Let's
Not
strike.
a euphemism.
Yeah.
Actually, euphemism is exactly a euphemism.
There goes the explicit rating, and it's because
We already
earned
earned it.
Yeah. So I mean, I say, with all fairness, Edgar. First off, he's proven himself in the past. It's not like he has to prove himself again.
Absolutely.
But he does have 4 wins in a row. I say give him the winner of Aldo McGregor. I think it's time.
Okay.
If Mendes can get a rematch against Aldo, then why can't Edgar?
Edgar should get that rematch. Absolutely.
Assuming Aldo wins.
Assuming Aldo wins. So who do we have next week? Let's do some
Oh
AfterBuzz
my
predictions
God.
before we have to go here.
Wait for
Do we
it.
have the button? Oh, we do.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Next week, UFC 187 from Las Vegas, Nevada, MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. What a stacked card this is. Seriously, this is another one of those
Start from the bottom,
stacked
man.
cards.
Here we go.
Literally,
Bottom.
you have Rose Namajunas. I know one of your favorites, Rose Namajunas, on the prelims on Fox Sports 1.
Yep.
But on the main card, we have Joseph B versus John Moraga in flyweight. Heavyweight, Travis Brown versus Andrei Arlovsky. Lights, Donald Cerrone versus John Makdessi, who's supposed to fight Khabib
Nurmagomedov.
but that's, John Makdessi filling in. But then we have the top 2 fights. Let me just say, God, I hate okay, I get it. People get hurt. But, man, finally this is happening. And the reason why I'm upset.
What the hell are you talking
I'm
about, my
upset
friend?
So
because
excited!
I'm upset because it has literally been a combined 28 months since these guys have last fought. Chris Weidman and Vitor Belfort.
Okay.
Combined.
It's been 10 months since Weidman fought. It's been 18 months since Vitor Belfort fought.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
And now they're the co-main
no,
event.
not even that. They're fighting for a title. And again, I get it. People get hurt, but man,
Yeah.
in some ways it is kind of disappointing. Like there's so much more worthy contenders that fight all the time. You got.
Well, now it's happening, George. So let's not jinx us.
Yeah, like I said, we've seen fights go out the day of. So
Yeah.
let's
That's
true.
hope. I don't know. I just still say somebody out there, middleweight, Luke Rockhold, whoever, you better be ready. But who do you guys have, Weidman or Vitor Belfort?
Weidman.
Agreed.
Then
Weidman.
I got to go with Vitor Belfort.
You.
Because Weidman hasn't even impressed me that much. Yes, he's a champ. He beat Anderson Silva. But I've yet to see a dominating performance
But
from
he's
this guy.
consistent.
How do you
He's
think that-
very, very consistent.
How do you think the Bellator beats Weidman?
Spinning roundhouse kick. Spinning roundhouse kick.
No.
Okay. Don't know someone's opinion, Jay.
I mean,
It's not gonna happen, is what I'm saying.
Even-
Weidman is not gonna get knocked out by a spinning back kick. Is that what you're
I don't know.
suggesting?
Whatever
No.
Vitor's been winning the last 4 times.
Right. He's not gonna. No, Weidman's not going down by a head kick.
Okay, main event. Who's gonna win?
Dude, this was a tough one.
Aldo versus McGregor.
Nope.
How and why?
Nope.
Neither of those guys are gonna win next week.
What kind of show am I on?
This is
That's
okay,
not the-
for the
that's
light
not-
heavyweight title next week. We have a vacant to fill the vacant light heavyweight championship. Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Rumble Johnson. Who do you have, Daria? Not Aldo, not a McGregor.
Oh shit. I don't even know what I'm saying.
What is in that?
It's a late night on a Sunday, guys. Way past their bedtime. That's why. That's
We have
the
like 10 seconds
All
left.
right, Johnson versus Cormier. Oh, okay. If Cormier can get off his wrestling game, he's gonna wrestle Johnson to death. Johnson's not gonna be able to pull off that knockout. If Johnson goes right out there, stops Daniel Cormier's wrestling, and knocks him the hell out, that's how
So
it's
you're
gonna play
saying
out.
Cormier or Johnson are going to win?
The end.
What about you, J-Tan? What about you?
I think Cormier is going to crowd Johnson,
Yeah.
take him down if he needs to. But
That's what I said.
it could be a lot of clinch, uppercuts, that kind of thing.
I predict we are going to see a new UFC light heavyweight champion.
Go
what is
out on a limb there,
What is your
buddy.
Twitter tab? Where can we find you, Daria Berenato?
You can find me at Daria B28, which it says right here, I think. But on everything else, you can find me at Daria the Jersey Devil Berenato.
When are you fighting next?
June 20th.
Not at the U of MMA on May 31st at the Nokia Theater in Universal, whatever it is, Los Angeles.
Universal
California?
Studios?
Club
Oh,
Nokia
it's at
and
University
LA
of Illinois.
Live.
I will be there watching, absolutely. I'll be watching my teammates and supporting Mr. J.
And all you AfterBuzz fans, come take a picture with Daria Berenato.
Seriously.
Yeah, guys, come.
Anybody that's in the LA area, come through.
Where can we find you, J-Tan?
He's just cutting us off left and right.
JTan716 as usual, or even better, get me get me at Club Nokia, quite frankly. Come find me. We'll have a beer.
And you can find me at Taco Bell. And on Twitter, though, and Instagram right here at G Hermoza, shift to GHERMOZA.
You're obnoxious.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Later. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.